let's now talk boxing and Mundine's fight with Crazy Kim. Look, when I first heard the name, I thought, oh, here we go, another chump. You know, Mundine's doing it again just with the name alone. But in doing a bit more research into this boxer he's coming up against from Japan, with Mundine going down in weight a little bit, he could have a bit of a fight on his hands here.
That is the real test in this fight. Now, Crazy Kim, his real name's Toshiharu Kanyama. He's a very credentialed boxer over in Japan, 33 years of age. Obviously, this is a big step up for him, and I think we forget sometimes that Anthony Mundine is still one of the best super middleweight boxers in the world. His career's sort of been on a holding pattern for the last 18 months. He's fought Sam Solomon twice, you know, coming off the big win over Danny Green, and now obviously he's been trying to get that Green rematch. So he really hasn't been pursuing the big fights out there on the world scene. So, but if he's going to go down in weight, it's obviously a test, because it doesn't happen very often that a boxer successfully moves down in weight. We saw it with Roy Jones. Went up to heavyweight, came back, was just a ghost of himself.
So we're told that Kim's got quite a killer knockout punch. He can deliver the big shot, which will be interesting to see if Mundine can evade it or might. But just straight up, is Mundine going to win this fight? I
would say it would have been upset for Mundine to lose. It's okay to have a big punch, but if you can't land it on Anthony Mundine, it doesn't mean anything. And the problem that boxers find when they get in with Anthony Mundine, he is so fast, he's so elusive, he's so hard to hit, and he's got the great boxing skills now where he can counter and take advantage of it. And, you know, the criticism Mundine gets, we really haven't given him the credit, because what he did to Danny Green and what he did to Sam Solomon and what he did to Antoine Eccles, they were very good performances.
He's not going to be the biggest name boxer at Newcastle, though, because Sugar Shane Mosley's going to be in the crowd. Great to see him in town. Great to see him supporting one of our own Aussie boxers who's got a bit of a future.
Well, Billy Dibb has been promoted by Shane Mosley and Oscar De La Hoya's company, Golden Boy Promotions in America, and you know, it's a mark of the ability that they think Billy Dibb has, that Shane Mosley, who's preparing for a fight himself, he's going to fight Ricardo Mayorga in America on September 27. So for him to fly down to Australia for a couple of weeks to spend time with Billy Dibb, who's now trained by Johnny Lewis, and this fight against the South African Zolani, it's Billy Dibb's big chance to show the boxing world, oh, I really am as good as Shane Mosley and Oscar De La Hoya think I am. And 21 years of age, Billy Dibb is one of the fighters who's going to carry Australian boxing through, because we talk about Mundine. Mundine is 33. You know, he's not going to be around for that many more years. And Billy Dibb is a young guy, and there's another name, Danny Gill, that's been mentioned as a possible opponent for Anthony Mundine. These are the names that are going to carry our sport forward.
Danny Green has been a name that's been floated around, especially with Anthony Mundine and a comeback. We've been talking about Kota Nasser. Have they been able to stitch up a deal yet for a rematch?
Well, Danny Green went away to Bali, went on a surfing holiday with his family to think about the offer. Mundine and Kota made a huge multi-million-dollar offer to Green. Green retired over Easter this year, saying that he didn't want to fight anymore and he wouldn't come back for any amount of money. So, look, if you're being offered $4 or $5 million, it's a lot of money to turn around, you know, for one night's work. So you would think anybody would be tempted, and I'm sure Danny Green's tempted, and he has to work through the issues himself. You know, why would he fight again? What's he coming back from? He retired, he gave up his world title, you know, but there's that redemption thing. You know, he'd love to come back and knock Anthony Mundine out, and he's always said, I think I'm the only person who can do it.
Is that the fight Australian boxing fans want to see? I know that there's a lot of people that want to see Mundine end up on his backside, but the supporters of Mundine, and I must say I am one of them, I want to see him get back onto the world stage. I want to see him really fight these credible opponents. Would it just be delaying the inevitable if he fights Danny Green again?
Well, it's sort of holding up his career, because, you know, if you're a real boxing fan, a Mundine fan, you want to see Anthony Mundine over in America, in Las Vegas, fighting the Kelly Pavlik, who's the current middleweight champion, or fighting a Joe Calzaghe in the UK, because you know, I don't think Anthony Mundine's really that far away from these guys if he prepares properly and gets the right sparring. You know, because of what he's done over the last couple of years, he has been underestimated to a certain point. And there's fans who say to me, Paul, you know, I really want to see Anthony Mundine in the big fight. So to a certain extent, yes, we want to see Mundine in the big fights, and a rematch with Green, obviously to be a huge fight still here in Australia, but we want to see Anthony Mundine go out and conquer the world, show the world the talent he's got.
But if he's dropping back in class, like in weight, is that going to affect his chances overseas?
Well, it could. It depends whether he can make the weight. Now, obviously, if he can go down a weight class and still fight at his peak, advantage, because he's fighting against a smaller man. So why wouldn't you want that advantage? But actually making the weight of 160 pounds, he has to go down 8 pounds from 168 to 160. You know, he's got to drop 3 kilos. Not that easy when you're a boxer, because Mundine doesn't carry a lot of extra weight. If he can do that, he can be very successful at middleweight.
I saw pictures of Mundine the other night. I don't know whether you've had an opportunity to see him spar or anything recently, but he looked reasonably gaunt from what we've seen in the face. Is he struggling with coming down in the weight?
Well, as I said, he's 33 years of age. He's not getting young. And look, it won't be easy. This is a test. He really wants to try and get as close as he can to 160, because if he's going to do it in a world title fight, you only get 24 hours to recover. You know, he probably needs to drop a little bit of muscle mass because Anthony's pretty tight as it is. But that's the nature of being a boxer and being able to make the weight. And, you know, as I said, this is part of this test for this fight against Crazy Kim. Can he get down a little bit lower?
Well, it is going to be a terrific night's entertainment. As you said, Billy Dibb on the undercard. So the good news is if you want to watch it, you can tune right in, because all the action from the Newcastle Entertainment Centre is on the main event channel, channel 518. Of course, Anthony Mundine up against Crazy Kim. In the tail of the tape, it's fairly similar. But the undercard, as we see, gets underway from 7 p.m. and it features Aussie Billy Dibb. He's shooting for the IBO World Super Featherweight title. As I said, catch it all on main event. That's channel 513. Well, Paul, thanks for coming in. Thanks for giving us a little bit more of an insight on Kota Nasser and where it's going there. And we look forward to tomorrow night's action.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Always a pleasure. Coming up, action from the first ANZ Championship final.
And Murat Safin loses his cool at the Cincinnati Masters.
Wow. First tee, 40.
That's what I'm talking